every once in a while I make a video and the production value is just like, wow, good for her. She's a beginner, she's getting out there, she's doing her best, she's putting her first effort into the world. To that I say, no. I've been on YouTube for almost 4 years now. I just never remember to film when the light is good, and so I end up sat underneath a desk with a lamp light. So I'm sorry about that. Hi, it's been a hot sec since I've seen you. I disappeared for a hot sec, but I am back with my June reading wrap-ups. I hope your Pride Month was healthy and happy. Once again, I didn't go to Pride. Another New Year's resolution failed. We'll see you again next year. So I read 10 books in the month of June. I was jamming, and this month had some real bangers. So sit back, relax, get ready. We're about to party. Starting off, I read Lament, The Fairy Queen's Deception by Maggie Stiefvater. If you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you know that I am a Maggie Stiefvater stan first and a human second. I have been getting around to reading a lot of her older works that were published when I was much younger. And I was a little nervous about reading this because I've been noticing myself DNF more and more YA books, which is a virtue of me, like, being a 20-year-old now and just, like, changing in tastes. But can we just talk about this? I love fairies. I love Maggie Stiefvater. I love romance. This was absolutely incredible. I read this book in one sitting and it gave me chills. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a music subplot, and y'all know that as a band kid, that hits me just right. Woo! I did a reread of The Sorcerer's Stone. Nothing to see here, just my yearly reread. Next, y'all. The Body is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonya Renee Taylor. I can confirm that this book altered, like, my brain. It just changed the way that I think about my body. It gave me permission to not hate myself and not to hate the space that I take up as a person who lives and breathes and exists. It discusses body confidence as a form of activism, which was a hit for me, really nailed it in the coffin. So discussing, like, self-love as a form of rebellion, I think this is a must read. I really do. Especially if you are a woman or part of a marginalized group existing in this world. I think it's so important that you read this book. I highly recommend it. Next, The Loch Ness Papers, a Scottish Bookshop Mystery by Paige, Shelton. Katie Faye recommended this. She had this video all about cozy mysteries it was ages ago at this point, but my Libby loans came through from after I watched that video, and this was one of them. And your girl loves a good mystery, especially one that was set in Scotland. What can I say? So always fun. Wasn't like the peak of literature, but let's be honest, no one's asking it to be. We just need her to be fun and get us through the day. Next, here's where we get into the real, like, here we go. So, An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. Neurodivergent main character. Spaceship run like a slave plantation in a post-apocalyptic world regarding climate change. Intersex main character. I mean, fucking fantastic. There were so many times when I was reading this that I genuinely just gasped aloud. Cannot recommend enough. The way that this author intersects marginalized identities and layers them, it's so skillful and delicate and nuanced, and just every new discovery was like a warmth in my chest. I know everyone in the whole world's already read this book, but if by some chance you haven't, get on that. Next, I read The Witch Boy by Molly Ostertag. Now, this is a middle grade fantasy graphic novel that's been on my TBR for years. It centers a trans main character. I loved the way that it handled really heavy, dark issues, and in a way that was, like, I could see myself recommending it to a young person and feeling like I had given them a tool to understand something that is very difficult to understand. And I would 1000% recommend this for any and all young readers. Another bop, and another one that everyone else has already read and I'm just way too late, is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi. This book is a verifiable tome, and that is why I've tried to start it many a time and never finished it until now. I'm very proud of myself for finishing it this time around. The audiobook was something like 36 hours. I listened to it on the plane to and from Miami, Florida when I went, and even then it was so long, but it was so worth it. It was just an incredible fantasy epic with such a fascinating and complex magic system, and the character development in so many of the characters was just astonishing. Like, I have literal chills right now just talking about it. Just some of the best writing I've read in a really long time. You've read this. This made the rounds on BookTube like 4 years ago, so I'm not breaking any new ground here, but if you're looking for a reason to read it or reread it, I would like to be that reason for you. Harry Potter, The Chamber of Secrets, yearly reread, nothing to see here. Next, Persuasion by Jane Austen. Man, I love petty rich people, and I love how sharp and sarcastic and witty Jane Austen is. She's just so good at capturing the ins and outs of like social life, creating a full world in which everything is given equal merit and there's no shame in what characters see as very important. Also, she must have had a major beef with someone named Mary, because all of the Mary characters I've read from her are absolutely abominable. So she must have had she had some issues with someone. And I just want to know what that person felt sitting there reading their name absolutely read to filth. Also, I saved 2 lines for you just because, you know, it wouldn't be a Catherine video if I didn't like read you some lines. Men have had every chance to write their own story. I swooned. And this one, I've seen around town on Pinterest 1,000 times, and this is horrifying to say because I consider myself a 0.5% Austen scholar, considering that was what I wrote my independent study and did my fellowship on, and I didn't know this line was Austen's. I'm half agony, half hope. Shoot me in the face. I can't, I won't, I refuse. Finally, We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. Y'all, this was creepy as hell. I loved it. I can't believe it took me this long to get around to it. I think that this is the only thing I've read of Shirley Jackson besides obviously like The Lottery. That's like your pretty standard fare. And it was so good. I love how good she is at making like the most fucked up stuff seem like normal and commonplace. I think that is, especially in like a horror creepy writer, such a gift, and she just nails it. So those were the 10 books that I read in the month of June. I love you all very much. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.